Hello and welcome to just one more Phoibos. Yes, back again today with some more of Tianjin's finest. I'm a big fan of Phoibos watches. I really like the watches themselves. I also like the whole thrust of the company. Proudly made in China, factory direct, no middleman, just great watches at great prices. That little blue guy spinning away in the corner there is my current pick of the range, their PY006 No Date Submariner Homage. A lovely little watch, very high build quality, but ultimately just a Submariner homage, not an original design. This, however, is a Phoibos that looks like a Phoibos. This is their brand new Wavemaster, outstanding value for money at either $220 for the no date or $230 for the Seiko powered date model. I'll tell you now, it's my new pick of the Phoibos range. I will also tell you, I think this Wavemaster is definitely in the top 3 dollar for dollar watches that I've looked at since I started the channel. So I'm going to do something slightly different with this one. Unbox initial impressions today, have a good look at the watch, get some nice close-ups on that beautiful wave dial. I'm going to come back to this one in about 10 days time. I've already started the watch check app running on the Seiko movement, not expecting any surprises there though. Then I'm going to put it head to head against the Seiko SKX, the legendary Seiko SKX. That is going to be one tasty grudge match. Not sure which way it's going to go. Alright, enough waffle, let's get into the box. Okay, so the familiar black Phoibos box. Now this is the old Phoibos 1.0 logo. It's still on the clasp of the watch here, but I imagine the King Octopus, which has made its way onto the dial of the watches, will in due course make its way onto the outside of the box. A nice kind of sturdy, fairly plain looking, but a sturdy, robust little box. Familiar set of instructions. This one now features the Seiko NH35 movement, so there's instructions there for that. You've got a 30-day no quibble return policy, assuming you don't take the packaging off. If you're just horrified by what you see when you open the box, you can return it in 30 days, and a 2-year international warranty. Now, Phoibos ship from China, which in Australia is where I get mine from. They also ship from the US, and they've just started shipping from Europe. I'll leave the Phoibos Europe website details in the description below. So, what am I going to do today? Well, we're going to get a good look at this one. It's already sized for my 7-inch wrist. We'll do some dimensions and specifications. We'll also do a loom shot, but we're not doing the accuracy report as stated. That one comes in the part 2. Let's get on with it. There we go then, an original Phoibos, and isn't it a cracker? So 42 millimeters in diameter, the bezel actually protrudes just slightly proud of the case. It's about 41.5 if you're measuring the actual case, but only 48 mil lug to lug, so relatively compact by comparison to its width. It's 22 mil on the lug width. There's no taper on this engineer. It's 22 mil all the way to the clasp. This one size for my wrist weighs in at 199 grams, so it's a big boy, but I must say it wears that very, very well. It carries its weight very, very well on the wrist. So we've got the ubiquitous 316L stainless steel case. We've got a screw down crown here, which does have the older Phoibos style P logo. As you can see, there's a coin edge bezel. It's 120 click unidirectional. Sounds great, and no backplate on that bezel whatsoever. Sapphire crystal with anti-reflective coating on the dial. Dead flat sapphire as well, so no distortion. And this one features the Seiko NH35 movement as mentioned. Pretty standard, these NH35s. I'm getting used to them by now, but they're great movements, usually very, very accurate. 21,600 vibrations per hour, so a 3 Hz movement, 24 joules. This one though features the date at the 6 o'clock, which I think is a nice aesthetic choice by Phoibos. It keeps the dial nicely balanced. I'll just pop out the crown there and you can get a look at that there. Very clean on the dial as well, just the octopus underneath the 12 o'clock. 300 meters and automatic there above the 6. Nice big set of hands on this one, the kind of lollipop hand with the loomed counterbalance, and just rectangular hands for the hour and the minute. Get a bit of a zoom in there on the dial, a bit of a close up on that lovely wave dial there. There you go, see how it catches the light. Cracking chapter ring on this one as well with the minute track. It's kind of an orange matching the second hand. Just a little bit darker perhaps, but I think the baby blue indices there look fantastic. Applied indices, just little circles on the hours, and you've got a double baton at 12 and batons at the 3 and the 9. I think a nice choice by Phoibos, keeping this one pretty simple. And great to see the octopus making it onto the dial there. Interesting, they haven't put the name Phoibos on the dial, they've just let that octopus represent the brand, which I think is a good choice. Love the ceramic bezel insert on this black model as well. Very nice colour matching. Somebody else reviews the blue one. I don't think the blue one looks as successful. I think this one looks far more cohesive and overall design. Colour scheme, I like the orange, the blue and the black. I think this one pulls it off very, very nicely indeed. Fairly straightforward treatment of the case, just polishing on the sides, kind of flat-sided, a bit like a Tudor. We do have a little beveled edge though there, which is also polished, and the brushing on the lugs integrating nicely with the brushing on the engineer bracelet. So let's have a look at this engineer then. I think very nicely done. You know, it's not incredibly solid. I have to say these are screw lengths, which you think is a good thing over pin lengths, but the screws are tiny. I had a bit of a problem when I adjusted this one. I cracked one of the screw ends, so be careful. Make sure you've got a good screwdriver. I don't think the screw pins are the most solid that I've seen, but definitely a nice bracelet overall. I think looks really good on the wrist, as you'll see later on. So the clasp, got the older style Phoibos logo on there, but it is a double safety, and it's milled, which is great again at this price point. $220 for a lot of watch here. Once you add the ceramic bezel, the sapphire crystal, solid end links. I'll pop the case back off in a second. I think the Phoibos Wavemaster looking like a real value proposition. Nice to see the octopus again on the case back, as in their quartz model and the Ocean Master. Again, laser etched, water resistant, 300 meters, Phoibos automatic, sapphire crystal, all pretty straightforward. Solid end links on this engineer bracelet as well, which is great, and plenty of grip on that crown. No crown guards, the kind of Tudor style case in some ways, this one. I think there's also a nod to the Tudors with that fairly simple ceramic bezel insert. So an original design, but obviously taking up a couple of cues from elsewhere. The old wave dial, very much like the old Seamasters. Loom shot, check that out, looks fantastic. Now loom on the previous generation Phoibos was a bit of an issue. It looked okay but didn't last all that long. I think they've listened to their customers. This is a mixture of Super Luminova Dark Blue and BGW9 on the hands, indices, and the loom bezel insert as well. Just looks great. And there it is on the wrist, looks great. Love the way the engineer catches the light and that wave dial as well. Very handsome looking watch. Now it's a 42, but I think it wears very nicely for a 42. 15mm thick, but wears so much better than the Ocean Master that I looked at previously. It was a little bit thicker and it was kind of top heavy. This one much better balanced, I think. Carries its 200 grams. Doesn't feel like a 200 gram watch on the wrist, at least not under my initial impressions. I will get back to you in 10 days as threatened with a more comprehensive review of what it's like to live with this one over the course of a week, how the movement gets on and so on. But initial impressions are excellent. I think it's a handsome watch. I think the specifications for the price are outstanding. Love the choice of date and no date as well. I like the date down at 6, but if you don't like a date on your watch, then they do have that option. I think the black or the green dial are the ones to go for in this. So far so good with the Phoibos Wavemaster. So there you have it, the Phoibos Wavemaster. Cracking effort for Phoibos' first original design. I'm really looking forward to wearing this one out and about with me over the next week or so. Can't wait for the head-to-head with the SKX. It should be fascinating. Thanks for watching. See you then, if not before.